The call came at dawn, sharp and unexpected, pulling Emily Carter out of a restless sleep. For a moment, she didn't answer, staring at the ceiling of her Chicago apartment as the phone kept buzzing. As if it already knew this day would not be ordinary. When she finally picked up, a lawyer's calm voice told her the house in Harbor Ridge was officially hers to decide. Sell it, keep it, close the chapter. The words sounded simple, but something in her chest tightened, like a warning. She chose to ignore. By noon, Emily was on a train heading north, the city falling away behind her. The rhythm of the tracks felt urgent, as if time itself had picked up speed. She told herself she was being practical. The house had been empty since her aunt passed. It made sense to handle things quickly. But the truth sat quietly beside her. Unspoken, she hadn't been back in 10 years. Not since the night she left Harbor Ridge with a suitcase and a heart full of questions. The town appeared slowly. Gray water on one side, low hills on the other. Harbor Ridge was small, polite, and stubbornly unchanged. The platform smelled of salt and wet wood. Emily stepped down, her boots touching familiar ground, and the air hit her like memory. She took one breath, then another, steadying herself. This was just a visit, nothing more. As she rolled her suitcase down the narrow street, she felt eyes. On her, the quiet curiosity of a town that never forgot faces. The houses were close together, painted in soft colors, porches facing the sea. The road curved toward the old neighborhood, and with every step the past moved faster. Meeting her head-on, she didn't expect to see him so soon. Emily. The voice stopped her cold. She turned, heart jumping, and there he was, standing by the wooden fence across the street. Daniel Brooks looked older, broader, more settled in his body. But his eyes were the same, careful, warm, the kind that once made her feel safe. For a second, neither of them moved. "Hi, Daniel," she said, the words coming out thinner than she meant. "I heard you were coming back," he said. "Didn't think I'd run into you like this." "Neither did I," Emily replied, forcing a small smile. The space between them felt charged, full of things left behind. 10 years had passed, but the silence between them knew no time. Daniel glanced at her suitcase, then back to her face. "You're staying at the house?" he asked. Double quotes, yes, just for a few days. He nodded. "If you need anything, you know." She did know? He had always been the one who fixed things, who showed up early and stayed late. It was part of why losing him had hurt so much. They walked together without planning it, their steps falling into an old rhythm. When they reached the house, Emily stopped. The paint was faded, the porch leaning slightly, but it stood strong. Stubborn, like the woman who once lived there. Daniel unlocked the door with a spare key. "Your aunt insisted I keep one," he said. "Just in case." The door creaked open, releasing a smell of dust and wood and summer's long gone. Sunlight poured through the windows, catching in the air. Emily stepped inside slowly, her chest tight. This was where she learned to cook. Where she cried over her first heartbreak. Where she once believed love was simple. Daniel stayed near the door, giving her space. "I can help get it ready to sell," he said. "If you want, it's a place needs work." She hesitated, then nodded. "That would help. Thank you." They spent the afternoon opening windows, moving furniture, uncovering floors. The pace was quick, almost urgent, as if stopping would invite too many thoughts. They talked about safe things. Her job in the city, his work at the marina, old neighbors, the weather. Their voices were light, but every glance carried weight. At dusk, they sat on the porch steps, tired and quiet. The sky burned orange over the water. Emily wrapped her arms around herself, suddenly cold. "I thought you'd never come back," Daniel said, not looking at her. "I didn't think I could." She answered. The truth hovered, sharp and close. 10 years ago, they had plans. College ended. Promises were made. Then one letter never arrived, one call went unanswered. And everything fell apart without explanation. Daniel cleared his throat. There's something I should have told you back then. Emily's breath caught. She stared at the horizon, afraid to turn toward him. You don't have to, she said, though she wanted him to more than anything. I do, he replied. But before he could continue, a neighbor called his name from across the street. Daniel stood, frustration flashing across his face. Tomorrow? He said softly, if you're willing. Emily nodded, unsure if she was ready, but knowing she wouldn't run again. That night, the house creaked inside as Emily lay awake, memories moving fast through her mind. She remembered laughter on this porch, Daniel's hands steady and warm. The night he left town without saying goodbye. Her chest ached with questions that never healed. Morning came quickly, too quickly. They worked faster than before, sanding, sorting, throwing away what no longer fit. The closeness felt different now, charged, intentional. When Daniel brushed past her, she felt it everywhere. By noon, the clouds rolled in. The air grew heavy. Emily stood by the window, watching the water darken. You're not the same, Daniel said behind her. Neither are you, she replied. That's not what I meant, he said. You look stronger. She turned to face him. I had to be. He nodded. I'm glad you are. The words felt like an apology without saying it. Emily swallowed. Say what you wanted to say, she told him. Please. Daniel took a breath. I left because I was scared. Not of loving you, of not being enough. I had nothing to offer. No plan, no money. I thought you deserved more. Her eyes burned. You should have let me decide that. I know, he said. I was wrong. The storm broke outside. Rain, hitting the roof hard and fast. The sound filled the house, urgent and loud. Emily felt something crack open inside her, painful and freeing at once. They didn't touch. They didn't need to. The truth stood between them, raw and real. Later. They sat at the small kitchen table, sharing soup from cans, the way they once had. The rain slowed, then stopped. The quiet after felt heavy. I'm leaving in 3 days, Emily said. Daniel looked down. I figured. Neither spoke after that night, as Emily climbed the stairs to her old room. She felt the weight of the unusual situation pressing in. She had come to sell a house. Instead, she had opened a door she thought was sealed forever. Downstairs, Daniel stood alone in the kitchen, listening to the house breathe. Knowing the past had returned and, this time, it wasn't done asking questions. The rain left the morning sharp and clean, like the town had been washed awake. Emily rose early, heart already racing, knowing this day would decide more than paint and paperwork. She stood by the window and watched the harbor boats move out, their engines low and steady. Everything outside seemed certain. Inside, nothing was. Downstairs, Daniel was already there, coffee steaming on the counter. He looked tired but calm, as if he had made peace with something during the night. Morning, he said. Morning. They didn't linger. Words felt heavy, so they worked fast, focused. The house responded to their energy. Boxes filled, old curtains came down. The pace kept their thoughts from slowing. By mid-morning, the realtor arrived, brisk and polite, praising the location and potential. Emily listened, nodded, signed forms. Each signature felt like a step away from the girl she used to be. When the realtor left, the house felt quieter than before. That's it, Daniel said. It's officially moving on. Emily leaned against the counter. So am I. They locked up and walked toward the water. The town felt smaller now, as if it had shrunk to make space for their choices. At the dock, gulls cried overhead. Daniel rested his hands on the railing. I don't want to pretend, he said. Not again. Emily swallowed. Neither do I. He turned to her. I know you're leaving. I'm not asking you to stay. I just need to know if what I feel is only mine. She met his eyes. It's not. The truth landed between them, steady and real. They stood close, The space smaller than before, the pull undeniable but controlled. This was not the reckless love of youth. It was careful, earned. They walked to the cafe where they once spent afternoons dreaming. Sighed the smell of coffee. Wrapped around them, familiar faces nodded hello. Time felt layered, past and present folding together. They talked honestly. About her life in the city, the loneliness hidden behind success, about his years here, steady but quiet, the ache he never named. They spoke of regret without blame, of love without promise. In the afternoon, clouds returned. Wind picked up. Daniel checked his phone. "Storm warning," he said. "Might get rough tonight." Emily glanced toward the house on the hill. "I should go back." "I'll walk you." Halfway there, the rain started hard and sudden. They ran, laughing despite themselves, breathless as they reached the porch. Thunder cracked overhead, Dot inside. The lights flickered, then went out. "Power's gone," Daniel said. Emily exhaled. "Of course it is." They lit candles, their faces soft in the glow. The storm raged outside, loud and close. The house felt alive again, walls holding sound and memory. They sat on the floor, backs against the couch. Time slowed. Daniel spoke. Quietly, "If you asked me 10 years ago to follow you, I would have said no. Today, I'd say yes." Emily felt tears rise. "I'm not asking you to follow." "I know," he said. "I'm just telling you who I am now." The storm deepened. Rain hammered the roof. Emily closed her eyes, letting the moment exist without fear. When she opened them, Daniel was watching her, steady and sure. "I don't know what tomorrow looks like," she said, "but I know what this feels like." "That's enough," he replied. They didn't rush. They didn't cross lines. They shared warmth, closeness, breath, the kind of intimacy that didn't need proof. Hours passed. Storm eased. Power returned with a soft hum. The candles burned low. Emily stood. "I should sleep." Daniel nodded. "I'll go." At the door, they paused. The space between them felt wide again. "Thank you for today." Emily said, "Thank you for coming back." He answered. She slept deeply for the first time in days. Morning arrived bright and clear. Emily packed quickly. The house echoed as she moved through it, lighter now. At the station, Daniel waited, hands in his pockets. The train idled. "Doors open." "So this is it," he said. "For now," she replied. He smiled, hopeful and afraid. "Call me. I will." They hugged, long and quiet. No promises. No pressure. As the train pulled away, Emily watched Harbor Ridge fade. Her phone buzzed once. A simple message. "Daniel, wherever you go, I'm glad you exist." She smiled, heart full, knowing the unusual situation had not ended her story. It had finally begun.